Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Code with Abby. I hope you are all doing good. Today we are starting off with a video on one of the important topics in SQL Server, that is triggers. This video is going to be one of the videos of 2 or 3 which will come after this, because the trigger is such a topic which cannot be covered in one video, and the one video will be lengthy and longer. So I have tried to divide it into smaller videos. In this first video, we will keep things simple. Instead of jumping straight into definitions, we will begin with a real life example using SQL Server Management Studio. This will help you easily understand why triggers are used and how they work. Once you have seen the example, we will talk about the basic definition of the trigger, so it all makes sense together. In next videos, we will go deeper into different types of triggers, real world scenarios, and how trigger can help in automating tasks, protecting data. We will also cover interview questions and common use cases. So if you have ever been confused about what a trigger is or when to use it, this series will make it easy to learn. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification so you don't miss the next parts. Let's get started. Before we go and understand the definition and other stuffs about the trigger, let's try to understand with an example first. I'm in SQL Server Management Studio and I'm going to create a couple of tables and a small trigger for you to make you understand what is the significance of creating a trigger. This is the table called TVL employees, which has got 4 fields: employee ID, employee name, email, and salary. Let's hit this, let's select this and hit this execute button to create this, and then let's insert couple of records to this table. So records have been inserted. Let's verify. This is the data on the table. The data table is employee ID 1, so Sumit Kumar, and Sumit Kumar at gmail.com, and we have got salary as 45,000. Likewise, Nina Joseph has got 65,000, and likewise we other employees have got their salaries. The requirement here is this: the company wants to increase the salary of each employee, but at the same time they want to keep track of the old salary. For example, let's say Sumit Kumar's salary is being increased by, let's say, an X percent, 10%, 15%, or 20%. But company wants to keep track of his old salary also. So there could be manual mechanism out there. Either they will write this, or they will have another script, some script they will write so that they will read these data and store somewhere else. We can do it in an automatic way. And here comes the trigger. What we can do is that we have the triggers execute on some events. Like, for example, if you are changing some data, so after the data gets changed or get updated, your trigger will automatically fire. After the data gets deleted, your trigger will automatically fire. After the data gets inserted, your trigger will automatically fire. And there are other ways also. Instead of insert, you can perform something else. Instead of update, you can perform something else. Make sense? So that is what I'm going to achieve here. For that, we will create one more table. And the table is TBL employee salary tracking. This will be a table which will hold employee ID and the salary, that is the old salary. So the moment you update the salary or increase the salary of employee, there is a mechanism through which we can retrieve your old salary, this old salary, and we can store in this tracking table. Make sense? And as on date is the date on which this change will take place. So we will create this table or for our benefit. Let's create this, and then table has been created. Now here comes the creation of the trigger concept. So this is a simpler statement. You have been seeing this statement in many of my demos earlier. This checks if this particular database object already exists. If it already exists, then delete it, drop it. So it checks that in system.triggers, where object ID is TG, TBL employees after update. So this is the trigger name which I am going to create. Then drop it and then create a trigger. And this line is what creates a trigger there. So the syntax is create and trigger, Trigger. So this creates a trigger. This is the trigger name, TBL employee after update. So you name it in such a way so that it will be well understood just by reading the name of the trigger. So if you read this, you get to know that this is the trigger written on TBL employee table, and it will fire after update. Make sense? So create trigger name on. This is the on which tells that on which table you want to create this trigger. So on TBL employees table, and this is the event. When will it fire? This will fire after update. So if you are updating this trigger table, so after the update, this trigger will automatically fire. So this is the actual translation of this line. This is going to create a trigger on TBL employees table. The trigger name is TBL employees after update, which will fire just after you perform some update statement on this table. Make sense? And this is the body of the trigger. Within this begin and end, what we are doing, we are inserting the data into TBL employee salary tracking table. And what we are inserting employee ID. Which employee ID? Where are we selecting it from? We are selecting it from a table called deleted. This is a table which comes in context when we use or when we work within Trigger. These kind of tables are called magic tables. I will explain the magic tables in detail in next video, but for now, you just try to understand this is a temporary table which are created, and the scope of this table is within this trigger only, which holds the data which has been updated or deleted for now. Make sense? So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to retrieve that deleted salary, updated salary from this table called deleted magic table, and I'm going to store in TBL employee salary tracking table. Make sense? That's all. So let's go and select and create this trigger. Hitting this, the trigger gets created. Now, where can we verify whether this trigger has got created or not? Let's go and try to, let's go to the Object Explorer, expand your database. Then you come to your table. This is your TBL employees table. And then there is a section called Triggers section. And this contains the trigger name. You see here, TBL employees after update, TBL employee after update. So this signifies that the trigger has been created. Now let's go and do the actual task. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to update the employee table, and I'm going to increase the salary by 10%. This is the formula, simple formula. Salary plus 10% of the salary, where employee ID equals 1. So I'm going to increase the salary of first employee number 1 with 10%. Let's go and hit this. So this got executed. And if our trigger principle is correct, our trigger could have stored the old salary. So let's verify it. So you see, this is Sumit Kumar. The Sumit Kumar's salary here is 49,500. But what was this original salary? If you see this insert statement, 45,000. And you see that our tracking table already stores this salary as 45,000, and it was updated on this particular day, 13th April at 16:51 p.m. Make sense? So this way, we can actually introduce triggers and automate our process. Let's go and define this. So if you want to define triggers, it's a database object, like we have stored procedures, tables, and they are all database objects. Triggers are also database objects, and which is very similar to a stored procedure and executed automatically when an event occurs in database. So we have seen a moment back that when we change the salary of the employees, the trigger automatically executed, and it executed, and it captured the salary updated and stored in some other table. Make sense? The event can be inserting, deleting rows in a table, updating a table column, or many more. So in a nutshell, it's a database object which automatically executes based on some event. With this, I think I have pretty much covered the concept of trigger and the basic definition of triggers. This is not end of the series. Trigger is a huge topic. I'm going to cover it in 2 or 3 small videos. In next video, I'm going to cover what all the scenarios, the real-time scenarios wherein you can use the triggers, what all the types of triggers, and I'm also going to talk magic tables in details. Stay tuned. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more high quality technical content. Drop your question in comments and I will be happy to answer them.